Thank you for clicking Dr. Samurai Minute Lecture. In this video, I would like to discuss eating meat creates toxic masculinity. I would especially like to focus on the relationship between meat-eating habits and serial murders. My name is Dr. Samurai, a professor specialized in international social pathology. Eating meat creates toxic masculinity. As an international social pathologist who studies multiple social illness that are found across nations, I started it out with the serial murders and mass murders. And what initially fascinated me was why especially serial murders originated in Britain and then in the United States. You must all have heard the name Jack the Ripper, right? And then so many notorious serial murders like Ed Gein and Hillside Stranglers, Ted Bundy's, and on and on and on. And I focused on cultural differences between Japan and the United States because at the time there were very few serial murder cases in Japan, while there are so many in the United States. What stood out as differences in our lifestyles was meat-eating lifestyle and also strong influence of Christianity. Regarding Christianity, please do not misunderstand my point. I am not against Christianity itself. What's important is people following the Bible's message word by word without even understanding its message. I have a good friend of mine who is a Catholic priest. And although he did not get into details, nowadays he is worried about people in his congregation, especially those who come into his mass, because they absorb whatever he says at the mass without digesting it by themselves. To put it more simply, they don't think for themselves. And he also implied that there are so many cases of confessions in which they are feeling guilty of self-abusing, male or female. This latter point clearly points out Christianity teaching is placing too much control on our natural feelings and natural desires. The teachings of Christianity is actually suppressing the natural feelings and urges of human beings, which obviously leads to high frustration and stresses. And the other point, eating meat. What about this? Oh, by the way, if you like this kind of serious discussions, please click that green and yellow lecture logo. We human beings are considered to be 95% identical with chimpanzees in terms of DNA. And chimpanzees eat plant-based foods 95% of the time. What does that logically lead us to? We can at least say human beings are naturally designed to live on plant-based food at least most of the time. However, in American culture, although now it is a bit changing, but steaks, hamburgers, and those ham sandwiches and so on, eating meat is becoming major part of American meals. But I looked into this topic further and found out 5% of the time that chimpanzees eat meat, they do it to attract females. And they just kill the smaller primates and they chew their meat, but they do not swallow it, because it is not for the sake of nutrition or taste, but just to attract females for their reproduction purposes. What about human beings now? The similar things can be said about human beings, those who are rich and wealthy. They buy expensive cars, they wear fancy suits, and where do they take the female to? Fancy restaurant to eat meat and wonderful steaks and so on. So there is a strong element of attracting females, even for our meat-eating, lifestyle. Although most of the time, meat is becoming already major part of our foods we take every day. But I keep, cats, and I noticed when they eat fish, like sashimi, the top piece of sushi, like a raw fish, they literally run around right after they eat it, because the fish meat is high concentration of protein. The same thing can be said about raccoon eating meat. When they eat meat, they literally run around because their energy was pushed up so high due to intake of high protein contained in animal meat. So, getting back to the reason why I started out with studying serial murders is, I thought because for some reason meat-eating habit is becoming a major part of American lifestyle, while Christianity, for some reason, is putting too much pressure on our natural desires and feelings, and those two get together, high stress and too much energy, and they find the outlet on the people who they think is their sexual favorite. Although I simplified it excessively, that's the reason why I thought social illness like serial murders originated in Britain and the United States. Getting back to our original topic of eating meat creates toxic masculinity. You know what I'm talking about now? So, animal meat is high concentration of protein because that is there. All those proteins the animals collected for their own living, and we actually are depriving them of their proteins they stacked up for their own lives. Of course, it is a good food with high nutrition, but it may be given too much toxic energy, which we may not even need to live naturally balanced lifestyle. I would like to add one more thing, those Mongol empires and all those aggressive empires in history. What was in common among those highly aggressive empires was they ride on horses and literally raided on quietly living people around the Mediterranean seashores, and those people who are into agricultures. Those meat-eating, horse-riding, highly aggressive people always invaded other peaceful people's lives and enlarged their empires. So I am not trying to reach any clear conclusion, but when eating meat that enables us to take excessive energies in could be leading to toxic masculinity, yes. And when it gets together with the systemic oppression, like wrongly understanding Christianity, could lead to volatile results that can be unexpected. This is all for today, and I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you like this kind of discussions, please click that red Dr. Smell logo wherever you are, my friend, on this very small planet Earth during this very short period of time. Thank you, and please have a wonderful day.